Hello. We are live. Wait a minute. No, we're not. It looks like we live. All right. Hello, everybody. We are live. Good to see y'all. Come on, y'all say hello to us as y'all coming in. I got both of my moms with me. I got them both next to me, and I'm sitting in the middle. So that's dangerous. Good morning, everybody. So just say something. Say hello to us as you come in. Glad to have you here with us today. So exciting to be here. We got people coming in. Come on, say something to us. Say hello. Let us know you're here. It's so good to be here on another Thursday at 11 a.m. and to be able to share with you. We got Miss Jackie Massey saying good morning. Good morning to you. Good to see you. Who else we got coming in? We got other people coming in. So glad to be here with you guys. We got an exciting show. We're going to talk life again. Got a couple of exciting topics, some deep topics we need to talk about and share on today. So good to see you. We got more people coming in. I see y'all coming in now. Good morning, Miss Kimberly. What's going on? She sent a nice note talking about how much she missed you. So she's so happy to see your smile this morning. That's beautiful. So good to see you. Hey, Emma, what's going on? Good to see you this morning. We got more people that's coming in. They're coming in. Good morning to all you guys. Make sure you guys say good morning to us. Let us know that you're here. Let us know that you're here. Good morning. We see Classy. Roxy's here. Good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you. Got both of my mothers here, y'all. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. We had some technical issues with one of my mothers. But it's okay. We had to bring her in so we can handle this. Good morning, Paula. What's going on? Good morning. She's saying morning to y'all. Good morning to my beautiful sister who has already called me this morning. My sister calls me every single morning around 7 a.m. or even before that. She tell me what she did ate the day before. So good morning, Reva. Love you. Good morning. We got more people coming in. Like I said, we got a sign-in show. We're going to give it just one more minute before we go ahead and start. We got some wonderful topics. So please make sure that you share the show. Do a watch party, please. You're seeing the link below that we want you to ask questions. We want you guys to really join and interact with us. And we want to do what we call iron sharpens iron. And we want to get stronger and we want to get better. We want to talk about issues and have practical solutions. Amen.
Amen.
So hey, we got Kim Delavan here. Good morning. What's going on? She says, good to see you, Mom. We got Miss Bonetta. Hey, Netta, I missed you this morning. You know, we exercise every morning. I missed you. But you see, I'm up. I'm still excited. Let's go. Reva saying she love you. But we're going to go ahead and get started. On last week, we was talking about just life in terms of even relationships and dealing with one another. And one person asked the question. I think we can start our conversation off with giving 3 good nuggets about marriage and how to kind of keep the relationship. But one thing I do want to say as we getting started is I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and it's a wonderful thing to be able to get these nuggets from people who have gone through things and have experienced things. We living in a generation now where there's not as many older people to talk to. My mother's phone is going off while we're on live. But anyways, there's not a lot of older people out there who are like the older saints, where you know you go and go in the back of the church and they'll sit you down and say, you know, you ain't doing that right. Or you go, I remember going to my friend's house. It doesn't matter if I left here, went to one of my friend's house, their mother or their father was always imparting something in us. So it's so happy to, I'm so happy to be able to communicate with both of my mothers on today about these topics. So let's go ahead, let's get started. So these 3 nuggets about relationship and marriage, what you got for us, Mom?
Well, last week, one question was 3 nuggets about they were getting ready to get married or something like that. And I told them that two things was sex, money, but I forgot to say communication. And you have to have all 3 of those. Those are the 3 things that will cause a person to get a divorce. If you can't do those things together. And you have to learn how to do that. And then some ladies are a little hesitant, not hesitant, but they thinking about what I said when I said that I never refused my husband's sex. And I haven't. And you'll be surprised that sometimes when you might be a little upset and huff, honey, I have cut off the pots and go on and took care of the action that I needed to take care. It turned out to be fun. And then they're happy. And they'll come back and help you cook and clean up.
Heather, I wonder if that one of those situations where we were made.
Okay. Let's get it on.
Oh God.
No, I think that's good to really talk about, because communication and really when you're going through things and you're upset with each other and having what we call unconditional love.
That's right.
Unconditional respect for each other in terms of what the marriage is about. And so we're talking about denying your mate and all that kind of stuff. I'm not married, so I don't have to worry about that. But y'all who married, you don't want to deny. You guys didn't say, Dr. Roberts, about that?
Yes. We don't want to actually get angry and deny your husband of sexual intimacy relationship when you just angry and you frustrated. So then you make him suffer. And that's what makes a lot of really infidelity in marriages. Is because a lot of times they don't want to pick on you women, but a lot of times we just want to just make them suffer for a little bit. So we have to make sure that's very important in a marriage. And so that's what I have to say. You keep that in the forefront of your minds. Anytime you get frustrated, anytime that things don't go your way, you forget about it. Let it go.
Yeah, that's good. Heather, you got anything on that one?
I wholeheartedly agree with my moms, but it's real. It's sometimes it gets a little tough, but it's true. It's true, and I think about it, it's like, okay, just as you don't forgive somebody, you block your blessing. Are you blocking your blessing by neglecting your spouse?
That's right.
Amen.
Yeah. No, that's good.
That's good.
And that's good to talk about. I was sitting here thinking when you were talking about it, and I believe men and women need different things, even in relationships. When it comes to men are a lot of times sex driven, while women are a little more emotional driven in terms of those things. And when you really, I would believe, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong, when you're denying your mate of these things, you're denying them of what they need in order to help enhance the relationship.
Right. And then another thing too, even when you have to also share with your mate what you like and what you don't like. What you want from each other. Most of the time women like a hugging and a kissing and all of that. It takes more to build them up, where it doesn't take long to build a man up.
What you trying to say? What's that supposed to mean?
It's true. They ready to go. you got to warm up too.
That's true.
So we want to encourage you, please ask your questions. We want you to get engaged. Please get involved in conversation. Mike, my brother says, suffer not. That's right. That's right, Michael. We are not supposed to suffer.
Neither are we.
So, but yeah, so please ask your questions. Please get involved in the conversation. We want as many of your answers answered. But I do want to go to the subject of just communication and how important is that communication? Just like you were just talking about, you know, you ought to tell your mate what you like and what you don't like, and how do you communicate that? Like, how do you develop that clear line of communication?
Well, sometimes it just automatically kind of come out because the wife wants to please her husband and the husband wants to please the wife. You want it to be really, really fun. You know, when it's excitement. It really is. It's still excitement. 45 years, still excitement.
Yeah, communication is important in a relationship period. That's why it's very important that you have counseling.
Yeah.
Prior to marriage, because if you know communicating is you want to know what kind of family environment he come from, how was his childhood. All that has to do with also intimacy. You need to know whether he was in a stable environment or whether he was not in a stable environment. Need to know how does he stand mentally. His attitude, all of that comes together in communication. Is so important. And the reason why we have a lot of things that occur in marriages is because the communication gap there was never talked about, or they just scammed the surface of things and never really got to the root cause of what problems. That's why so many people say that, well, you know, me and my husband, we get along together so well, and nothing happens because you never actually saw the other side of that person. And you need to make sure that you get to all of this prior to marriage. You don't even know what makes him angry, what ticks him off, what his likes and dislikes, his mother said. Things like that is so important in communicating in marriage.
And you know, that's true, Reverend Robinson. I can say that even with us, there were a lot of things that whereas I knew him and we were friends and he knew me, you know, and that kind of thing. But there still, you still gonna have areas. This is also to the people who are single. You're not gonna find everything out about the person that you are dating or planning to get married to, and you have to work with it as you go. And like I explained to you all, it was different ways of doing things with us because I was raised with my mom and dad, and I saw both sides of my grandparents, you know. But my husband, he was not raised with his mom and dad. He was raised pretty much by his spiritual dad that you hear him talk about all the time. So some things that was natural to me,
right?
Just automatically, you know, that I would do, you know, things like that wasn't natural, you know, to him in some areas. And so we had to get through that. And even when you're dating and even when you're going through marriage, it takes time. You just can't find a person out. Sometimes you can't find them out in a few years.
You have to actually study that person.
You
have to actually study that person. You have to watch that person. You have to watch what their character. You have to watch their attitude. Some people are easily frustrated. Men and women. So you have to watch that even prior to marriage, even with dating. You have to watch those things that they do get frustrated, but they try to hide it.
But
so
sometimes it doesn't actually come up. Like with me, and I was telling you all last time that I have the mean streak, and so
you see, y'all didn't know that.
You didn't know that.
But
she tough.
I did.
See, a person wouldn't normally see it because it takes a lot for me to get to that point.
Okay.
And so, you know, and when I finally got to that point, it was, I guess it was some years. It was some years before I got to that point. But when I got to that point, my husband had never seen that side of me.
Right.
And I think it's important what you said too about counseling and getting what you need. Because I've noticed that some people believe that they don't need counseling.
Right.
And even if you're in a marriage, I would say that you still need counseling for yourself.
Yes.
Because you always got to keep
That's
improving,
right.
on yourself,
Right.
and to do the couple counseling at the same time. I don't
Yeah.
know if you can talk about, because I know you counsel
Yeah.
a lot of people, so you see a whole bunch of things, but a lot of people feel like they don't need to do the work.
Right.
And the partner and flip is really really you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So,
Yeah, you know,
And you got to be open too. You should
That's
always
it, the
be
open
open.
communication.
None of us knows
Mhm.
everything.
Mhm.
I'm still learning.
So somebody asked a question. They said, let's see here. They said, how do you communicate with a partner who's not good at communicating?
Mm.
Mm.
And that's a good one. How do
Yeah.
you communicate with somebody who's not good at it?
For one thing, the first thing is takes patience. When a person's not good at communicating, they're very quiet. And you are communicating and they are answering, say, one word or two words. That's non-communication. So you have to actually have patience. And then what you do is you actually lead. You actually ask things that's going to, not things that's going to have him to freeze up, but things that's going to have him to want to open up. If you don't, say for instance, you communicating and you want to know what kind of foods do you like? Get off the subject of other stuff. What kind of food, what kind of food? What's your favorite colors? Things like that. Engage the communication, and before you know anything, you're building up that confidence. That's what they don't have. They don't have confidence within themselves, and then some of them, they don't know how to communicate because they have never tried to communicate, and they parents did communicate with them, so that means they don't know how to communicate with you. So if you ask just ordinary questions, it's going to build up, your job. Why did you select that career? Things like that. That's going to help you in your relationship when they don't know how to communicate. But if you just say you don't know how to communicate and I can't trust you and then guess what? They're going to always shut down. You're not going to ever get a communication out of a man when you down them and criticize them. Criticizing them is key with women. So be careful with that.
That's true. I think also it's timing.
Timing.
You can't force nobody to talk when they don't want to talk.
Right.
And so I believe that you have to find when's the right time, when's the comfortable moment. When do you think they're in the right place? to have a conversation that might be tough. You have to have those conversations. You don't want to avoid it, but there's always a time for everything.
And sometimes you can ask, say, it's some on my mind. I just need to talk to you a little bit about it. And then, like I think I said this last week, there's different ways that women go at a conversation than a man. Most of the time, if I just start a conversation with my husband, if I don't have it in a suggestion mood, mode, because men feel like when you're talking to them, it's something that they need to fix, that they need to take care of it, right? And that's not what you want. You just talking.
Right. And then they have a defense. Why are you asking me this? What am I into now? That's how come a lot of them shut down.
Right. And you have to sometimes have it so that it seems like it's a suggestion.
Right.
Rather than telling them something or saying something to them. So that's why I say you got to learn. You got to learn.
The approach is so important. Right.
Somebody said I'm sitting in between y'all, so I'm gonna be behaved today. But there's a question, and she says, when trust is broken, how do you build trust again? I think it's an important question. How do you build that trust again?
It takes a long time when trust is, and you will know that you've gotten over it when you talk about it without getting angry and that kind of thing. And you always have suspicion, that kind of, it depends on what area it is, and then if you don't feel secure where you are as a person, that has a lot to do with it too. But if you're secure as who you are and whatever it is, I don't know whatever this might be that you're going through, to make that trust come back, you have to find out that I'm this person. I don't have to deal with this. I'm not insecure. And stuff like that. You just start going down the line where you are to make sure you're in the right place, whereas you can be able to trust.
Right.
Because sometimes when you're insecure, you just start accusing people of things, and that could even be on your job with your boss or anybody else. You start accusing people of things that is not true.
Right. And then too, you have to you actually, to build a trust too, you have to forgive. You have to be willing to forgive from your heart. And when you actually forgive from your heart, not just say, well, I forgive because it's not. Actually forgive from your heart. And you have to be willing to say, you know what, regardless of what it takes, I'm going to work on this marriage. We're going to work on this. Because if you're not willing to work on it, you're not going to ever trust him or her. Because you're not willing to forgive, and you're not willing to actually work on the marriage. And when you're working on the marriage means that you have to actually be confident. And you're going to want another thing, we got to keep God first. Because you got to trust that God's going to heal your hurts too. You got to ask God to heal your hurt and heal that pain, because you can't do it alone. But God can do it. Okay.
On the flip side, somebody just texted me a question. They were saying, how do you help your mate to get over a situation when they keep bringing it up? They keep bringing it up, and they're kind of dealing with what happened in the past, but you gotten over it, but they haven't gotten over it. How do you deal with that?
I think sometimes when that happens, and I don't know everything, when that happens, a lot of times, even all the stuff that we are talking about, sometimes it has to do with something in your childhood that is really, you didn't get straight, you didn't get counseling for, or you haven't gotten over what happened to you as a child, and so you bring all this with you over to the relationship where you are now, and it's still bugging you. So you are in a place where you assume, you assume this and you assume that, and you are just all out of proportion about different things. What you're thinking is not true.
And then another thing too is your peers. You have to be careful with your surroundings, because when you have been hurt and you're trying to get over the past of a hurt, and you have someone who's negative always in your ear, it's hard for you to let it go, because they're going to always bring it up in the conversation. So you have to cut some people off. And sometimes we have to get by ourselves and just trust God for healing, instead of allowing other people to be the answer to all your questions, because other women who are negative, around them, that's a lot of reasons why women cannot move forward from the past, is because they're hanging around negative women or negative people who have been through stress, all of this other stuff, and they don't forgive and forget. They don't want you to be happy either, so they're going to pull you down with them. So a lot of times that's the problem why some women can't really get past. They go so far, and then they'll talk to their friend, and then before you know anything, they're back to square one. So
and something I had some on the tip of my tongue and a lot of times when you know that if you're talking to a person, it could be your mate, your mother, your father, and anybody who's always talking negative about people. It can be on the television.
That's right.
anywhere. I mean, wherever they are, they're not going to have a total positive words to say. They're always going to key in on negative. And I don't know when a person like that with me, that they, every time I talk to them and they talk negative, I just don't say nothing.
No.
I let them talk. Sometimes it could be a family meal.
That's right.
If they just talk, I just listen while they talk. I mean, they talk, and I just listen.
They say, they be saying, you still there?
Yeah.
I'm here. All right. Are you finished now? But somebody sent me a question, you know, in terms of what about infidelity? You know, how do you deal with infidelity? Because that's a deep hurt. That's a very deep hurt.
Yeah, it is.
Still, you have to start off with conversation.
Yeah,
you got to talk about it.
Yeah,
and you got to realize that marriage is a covenant. And when that covenant is broken, it's a covenant with man and woman in the presence of God. And when that covenant is broken, then that's what the infidelity is hard to actually actually for a person to really forgive and let it go. You had, like I say, we got to be willing to forgive. And the key word is you got to be the person who has actually committed this has to be really open to repent.
Right.
When you're open to repentance and be godly sorry, then God will work that thing out where your mate will automatically, he will touch her heart. Okay, he will let her do some self-examination, because a lot of times women will blame themselves. What did I do? I did everything I'm supposed to do. I never denied him this. I never denied him that. And and all this is going on in your mind. You see, and so when all of this is going on in your mind, you're not giving yourself a chance to actually say, okay, stop blaming myself. It's not me.
Right.
Yeah. But then sometimes you gotta, that's where growth comes, because you got to look at yourself and say, okay, what have you done? He did that infidelity. But guess what? You didn't do that, but you did something else. We got to do some self-examination.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to do some self-examination, not that blaming yourself.
Right.
But how can I get past this? Work on you.
Right.
Work on you, because he's asked you to forgive him. He's been godly sorry. He's trying to willing to go to counseling, and you're still holding on.
Yeah.
So what you got to do is examine yourself, and you got to know your shortcomings, repent to God for what you've done, and ask God to fix it. That's the only way you can deal with infidelity. Now, the world's way is fighting. You would be up there on Mountain Road.
It's gonna be on everybody, right?
But God's way is like, okay, he said, who I put together, let no man separate. So if you can think about that one, and you can build that trust. Now, building that trust is the same thing. It takes open communication. And also, guess what? Mother talked about the sex part. You have to find a way to rekindle the fire.
Right.
And what I mean by rekindling the fire is what it took you to get him or her, and what it's going to take you to keep them.
Yeah.
You got to get back, and sometimes we get married and we want rollers in our hair and jeans on when you might as well say jeans when you go to bed. You got on sweatpants and all that stuff. And every time you
got the whole onesie on.
Yeah, you got everything going on.
What the hood?
So that's not giving a person an excuse to do things. But sometimes we got to look at ourselves and say, okay, let me examine me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like Pastor's mother said, I think God didn't make men like women.
That's right.
All right. Yeah. We're totally different.
Yeah.
Right. So we got to remember that what it took to get one another is going to be what it takes to keep one another.
Right.
You got to keep the fire going.
Yes, right.
And then you got to keep that relationship going yourself. But you know, infidelity comes with egos and all of this stuff, pride, and some people just got lust demons. Let's go there. They just got lust demons, and they just act like they gotta have sex 50 times a day. And so that's that. So
and another thing, Reverend Roberts, too, sometimes it's in the family. They're
generational curse. That's it.
And you'll find it with some of if one of the parents did that a lot. And find one of the children will end up
They
doing
saw
that.
it.
Yeah.
Some of them
It's-
see it.
And then see some of the children when they were little, that's a mistake that parents make too. Where when they are little and they take the kids, I don't care if it's to the park or whatever, kids are always watching you.
They're watching.
They watching everything. I remember one time I was driving from the store and LeRoy and Reba was in the car with me. And a guy pulled up beside of me and he was hugging but I never would look over. LeRoy said, "Mama, you know him?"
I'm about to fight. I'm ready.
Said, no. I said, no, I don't know. But as soon as we hit the door at home, he went right to that. Daddy, it was some man.
We don't play that. I don't care how old I was. No, but Talani asked a question I think it's good. She says, can you speak to the importance of love languages? We've identified our own to try to be conscious to give to the needs of the other.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so identify the love languages to give to meet the needs of the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just talk about I believe just talk about the different love languages in terms because some people are communicators.
Yeah. And
some people are affectionate, some are not affectionate, some like gifts, but other don't care about gifts. How do you first I guess it's the communication of how to find out what your mate or who you're dating is.
But see, that goes back to me. A little bit when you're dating. What did you see then? What did you do then? To communicate to, in those areas. In the I really don't know because I never kind of had that problem. With the
it gets back to love languages. Gets back to really communicating is because we talked about communication, but we talked about the likes and the dislikes. We talked about you can love a person and not like them. The love language, okay, when you're talking about
say that again, because I don't know people
you can love a person and don't like them.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of cases where you love a person and you're married to them, but if you don't like their ways, then that's a love language. I love you, but I don't like you. How do I handle that? It's like Mother said, as far as gifts, as far as maybe you don't like flowers, your love language. Maybe you certain things you don't like. You have to communicate the love language. You some people like you said, we won't want to dwell on intimate so much, but it's some people, some things, some parts about you got to learn a person's body. That's a love language.
Yeah.
Learn a person's body. Learn a person's mind. How do they think?
Yeah.
You gotta learn how a person thinks because and how you gonna do that? Communicating with them. Everything goes back to communications. Communications is so key in a marriage because if you don't get these things while you're married, it's gonna be a problem because you never communicated with me that you don't like to be hugged. Some women don't like to be hugged. Some men don't like to be hugged. You never communicated. Why is that so? Things like that. This is love language. So you got to be a good listener. You got to be not a passive listener, not a selective listener, but an attentive listener. That's a good one right there. So
it's a book. It's a book out too about love
languages.
The 5 love languages.
5 love languages.
It's a great book. What I was gonna say is when you was talking, I think it's also getting out of your own selfish nature to understand what you like. Your mate is different.
Right.
And so you really have to, I would imagine, because I'm single, I'm imagining. So that I imagine you have to get out of yourself and really make an intentional effort to really find out what those love languages are and put effort into making sure it happens. Make sure. What you got to say, Heather? You've been mighty quiet over there.
Hey, I'm gleaning, but everything, and I was just gonna ask that is, my Roberts, how do you, when you know that your mate doesn't, they may not be that affectionate, but that's something that you need.
Wow. Yeah.
And how do you make sure that you're secure in remaining faithful and not go to the infidelity, because that's what you need and that's what you're not getting. So how can you reassure yourself? Be reassured.
Being reassured. It could be the male or the female. Both of these when it comes to the affectionate piece of hugging and some people don't like to kiss, and some people don't like the cuddle, like cuddling. That still comes with, you got to ask the question why. You got to first of all build trust for him to tell you. Let me tell you something. My husband, I have to go back to Freeman now. My husband, I was the type of person that way. You can hug me, but it's just certain things that I would like to shine from. My husband communicated with me. The only way you're gonna find out is you're gonna have to ask questions. But you have to ask questions in the right way. Let me know what bothers you. If this bothers you, then I would know how to handle that. But it's all come in how you talk to people, how you relate to one another in that area. If you never relate to one another in that area, then you don't know. So to be secure in it is you have to actually ask questions. And when you ask questions, you ask them in a certain way, where you at a loving way, and then they'll let you know. Now, sometimes they won't let you know everything, but the Holy Spirit will let you know the rest.
Yeah.
But that's how you stay insecure in a relationship like that you don't have that. But my husband just asked questions. He didn't know what else to do but ask questions.
I think it's too. It depends on the past. It's like
what
my mother was talking about. Like, if you did not grow up in a household that was affectionate, or you didn't see that your parents doing certain things, that's part of your nature, who you come. And I would imagine you can't expect the person just to automatically
Just be also generational thing too, Pastor. Growing up, you may not have seen your parents embrace, but taking on that nature as you're older now, letting your children see, because that was something as a culture, depending on the person's age, as a culture, you didn't see your parents being intimate, of just getting a hug. So that's something you have to recognize and may say, you know what, I want to do this for my marriage. I want to do this for my relationship. Because I didn't.
Right. And mom talked about that last week when she said that, even in your parents' relationship, you saw the good stuff. You take that stuff with you, and the stuff you didn't see, or the bad stuff, you kind of push it aside and you make those changes to make it better. So it still goes back to a self-evaluation.
Because that's where mine came from. I came from a loving family. I told you that with the intimacy. My mom was a very touchy person. My dad was a touchy person. But then as you grow older and you get married, and then things happen, then that's when you get kind of, it don't have to be the parents. It could be from the past of something else.
Right.
And then that person who actually is secure in who they are, and they really love you and they want you to be secure in who you are, then they would have the patience to actually help you. But the only way they can help you, you got to ask questions. And then you got to build that person's trust to actually might not tell you everything, but tell you enough where both of your relationship will be solid. Now,
and that's work.
I'm telling you from experience. That takes WORK. Freeman had a lot of sweat.
So we had a question that came across of how do you be encouraging, it says, and supportive without being pushy or nagging. So how do you support
how can you be supportive and caring
and encouraging
without being, that's an easy one. Because it depends on your character,
Yeah, yeah.
Your character and your attitude. That's what it depends on.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a caring person?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a compassionate person? Are you a nagging person? Are you a mouthy person? So if you are an encouraging person and your character portrays that, then you're going to come across, when it comes out your mouth, it's going to come across of who you are on the inside.
Yeah. Right. I think what they talk about too is, all right. So let's say if there needs to be a change in a relationship, or let's say a person is not attentive on certain things, or if they don't. Let's say, even if you say, all right, I need the garage fixed, but you got to ask them 20 times to get it done. How do you encourage them to do what they need to do, or even communication without being a nag?
That's hard. Let me tell you.
I can't help with that. I had a jewelry box. I love your brother.
Yeah, that's my brother.
And he
my mom gave me for Christmas, and it took 2 years to put it up. But I had to check myself, because I had to say, wait a minute, am I nagging? You have to be able to say, well, first of all, why is it taking you so long? I want to put my stuff in here, but I could have did it myself. So, you still have to say, wait a minute, am I going to let him do it? Or am I going to take it over and do it myself? But then it's like, you know what? No, let me pull back. Let me give him the time so he can do it. I wanted it done at my time, but sometimes you have to let them do it at their time and realize, and still be loving and nudging, and and a little jovial, like, oh wow, what am I doing with my jewelry? And throw that in there. But sometimes they have to do it at their time. Pillow talk, mother. Yes.
A lot of times, people don't know that you can get a lot done. Just pillow talk. That, like you were saying, I probably would have said, honey, it's been a long time, but I really would like to have my jewelry box fixed. And and I just. But pillow talk, there are a whole lot of things that you can talk about, and you just say a few words and you leave it, but it's her. That's gonna please her for what she wants. She wants this fixed.
And somebody just they just text me and said it's not always the men that need it.
Yes,
but it's also it's women too.
Right.
And it's in a relationship.
Yeah,
it's a balance. Everybody has their weaknesses and everybody has their strengths.
Right.
And that's something that that's a whole another conversation. Even when you get in a relationship or any kind of relationship, understanding that your strengths need to be pushed.
Right.
And sometimes I might have to back up. And flip side, and it doesn't mean that you're a weaker vessel.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you're not as smart or as important. It's just understanding the strengths and weaknesses of any relationship. So I think that's
key. That's
important. That's good.
That's very important.
Because I had to I had to learn that myself because of about me working with my mom and dad, and on the trucks and all that kind of stuff. So by nature, I know how to almost fix anything. And so I had to really back up and allow my husband to do a lot of things that he wanted to. Sometimes he would say, "Oh, let me get a screwdriver and fix that," and I'm saying to myself, "Now I know I'm gonna have to fix it." But I had to really, and sometimes I still have to back up. Because I'm so used to, I can just go do it just like that, and I can just get it done right now.
She's not lying.
Yeah, and that comes with procrastination. When you say strengths and weaknesses, that is so key. You have to know each other's strengths and weaknesses. If you're weak in this area and he's weak in it, and he's strong in this area, vice versa, then you need to know that prior to marriage, so that you would know how to handle it during marriage. Because I'm an independent person. If I ask you 2 or 3 times and you don't do it, it's done.
That's
and
what
I'm not going to be angry with you. I'm just that way because my mom was that way. My mom would ask my dad, and before anything is bought, and she done whatever she wanted to put it on because she didn't work, so hey, you got to pay for it. And my dad said, "How did this?" She said, "Well, I asked," and she was so sweet. "Well, I asked you 3 times, you never did it, so I just bought another one." So I grew up like that. So what I did, when I ask you 2 or 3 times, I never get angry. I just do it myself.
So my sister Paula here, she asked a question for Mother. She said, "Mother, are there any new and exciting things that you're done while being in quarantine together with your husband that you will continue to do once the pandemic is over?"
All right.
Oh,
that's good.
I don't know if I should hear this one, Paula.
That's a real good one. That's a good one.
You know what? It's not only just with us, but it should be with a lot of you all who are on here. We've heard so many people who have been married for a long time say that this is the first time since they've had to spend time in the house together. I mean, for this longer time that they realized it was like they were going back to courtship. And yet, and then there are others who can't get along that long. But it has to do with the love that you have for your mate.
Right.
I'm thinking that's what with us, and
she wants you to give an example.
An example
how you can keep it going during your pandemic with Archbishop, that you can keep it going after.
Well, I don't think I was really changed this.
I'm about to say, my mother, my mother, she's with my dad all the time.
That's right.
100% of the time. It's one of those unique relationships. So the pandemic, I don't think she just did her. It's normal. She spent every day. He can't be 5 minutes without her. So so I mean it's normal, and I think during the quarantine time or the pandemic, for most people, they were getting to the point where my parents were or are actually in terms of spending time to each other. And I'm used to seeing if my dad got to go somewhere, my mother right there with him, and if she can't go, it's me. So it's always been like that, or Michael, in terms of going places. So it's one of those things. I think during this time.
Well, this time, I guess the hardest thing for us this time through this was when he had to go to get have his surgery. Oh, honey, it was really a meltdown. Because all I could do was take him to the hospital and drop him off. And after the surgery, and then go back and pick him up. I didn't get a chance to talk to the doctor. I talked to him on the phone, but seeing the doctors, the nurses, and stuff like that. But that was a real trying time for each of us. And he hurried up and got out of there as fast as he could.
I asked him, I said, "Dad, how you gonna make it?" What you gonna do? You gotta be in the hospital by yourself?
I grabbed a hold to him. I was crying, and I know he wanted to cry, but by the time I got the car, I was boohooing all the way home. I said, "Oh Lord, is he gonna make it? He gonna remember to do this? Remember to do this?"
So I think one of those things with my mom is what about you, Heather? Have y'all done anything new?
Well, thank goodness to my mother. My mother said it took a virus. We have been cooking more together. So that's something that is a blessing. It took a virus for to cook some more cooking to take place in this household. So that's a big thing. And really being more health cautious, walking, drinking water, keeping each other in check in a good way,
Oh, that's good.
That's good. That's good. Well, we single, so we ain't do nothing.
No, we didn't do nothing. try to find different ways to cook and fuck.
Look, Heather, I watched a whole lot of movies.
Oh, now that's something we do more. We watch more TV together, more movies on the TV together.
You've done some TikToks, Pastor LeRoy. You know,
Oh, yeah.
you've come out your shell. So
Yeah. A lot with the kids and all that kind of stuff, and you know, really hear from God. So, but in terms of there was a question that, you know, everyone does not grow at the same pace,
Right?
And so, how do you pretty much not leave your mate behind, but still progress without, you know, any issues? You know, how do you do that?
I really don't.
I tell you, one thing that you can do when you are not growing at the same pace. The first thing you need to do is you need to find a good retreat or seminar to go to. That's what I tell most of my clients, because you can do things at home your own way, but when you're around other people, you're actually learning. You're learning as well as he's learning. Both of you learning together. So get a good retreat, get a good seminar, or another thing that you can do is there's a lot of things online, and I've noticed that some men are really they'd rather listen to the people online, like, oh wow, I'm getting a lot from this. I find some couples actually have go to counseling online.
Wow.
They look at the person online and they're doing the work. Really? And they're actually, and they're actually, since we've been in the pandemic, I have couples online who are actually going online and they're getting doing their homework and things like that, and they're coming back reporting. So that is so key when it comes to growth. Because if you don't, someone is going to feel intimidated, and men feel intimidated too, as well as women. And they feel like, you know, because I've heard some men say, well, you know, she's smarter than me, so I can't. No. Yes, you can. So you just have to know. And also vice versa, women, men, you have to encourage one another. Encourage one another. Have patience with one another. Love on one another. Oh, baby, I'm so proud of you. Even though it was something like, oh, my goodness, what in the... But, you know, I'm so proud of you. Yeah. That's what you do. Yeah. And that's how they grow. That's how you learn to grow together.
Now, another part of that I'm thinking I might hear is, are they growing spiritually? Yeah, more.
Well, that's good to talk about, because most of the classes are spiritual because they're Christian classes. Yeah. And so if they're going to the Christian classes, they're going to learn the scriptures. They're going to learn what scripture means this. Yeah. How does this relate to your life? And so they're learning that as they're...
But it also has to be, I think it has to be willing. Some guys
you ain't willing, that's it. Close the book.
A lot of things they won't do if they think that it's hitting at them.
It's gonna be an attack.
Yeah,
that's gonna be an attack.
Hitting at them. And it's not that way. And my suggestion is you really have to talk to God, and God hears our prayers, and He will answer. It doesn't seem like it comes right away, but it does. It does come.
I want to hit a couple questions before we get off the air, because we got about 7 minutes left.
Okay.
But she asks, how do you deal with someone who thinks all females are the same?
All females are the same?
Yeah. So if they had I'm assuming if they had an issue with one female, even a couple of females, that they all behave the same, act the same.
It may be that's the type women that he's attracted to.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
Is this a man or woman asking?
It's a woman who asked the question.
Does the man believe that all women are all the same?
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Heather. Answer that.
They haven't experienced anyone different. So the key is, if they think everybody is the same, you have to show them a different side. And it's what they've dealt with. So if that person has only dealt with females that, you know, they may think, oh, she only wants one thing. Yeah. Well, you be the difference. Yeah. And live in that difference.
Yeah.
Be that example to say, you know what, this is my standard, this is how I live, and set that tone of how you live compared to whoever you dealt with, because I'm not them. That was them.
Yeah. You know, and I remember when you were talking, when I was working for the government, you know, so many people around. I learned so much from married women, single women, married men, single men, and just the whole thing. That if you watch people, you will really learn a lot about that. And like you just said, you have to carry yourself in a position, whereas people gonna look at you different than they do the other employee. And that's one of the things that I really did make sure when I was working there. I don't care how many colonels or majors or whoever, supervisors, whoever. But when it ended up, once again, myself and two other ladies were kind of the favorite out of thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Whereas we would get things done. We came to work. We didn't goof off, and we didn't cause problems, you know, about different things. But when it ended up, we ended up in a lot of top positions. I mean, they were just, you know, given to us and stuff like that. So when you're in a place like that and you have a lot of people, especially a lot of women, I saw all this stuff that we are talking here today. I could write a movie about it. Even down to the part where a couple of them almost got killed there. But some of the same stuff we're talking about, infidelity and all that kind of stuff. But you have to make, like you say, you got to make yourself different, and they see you different. And when you and the other thing is that I was a church girl, and the other girls were church girls, and so they saw that in us. And this is another thing: people have to see you as a different person.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And this is point what Miss Davis says right here. It says certain behaviors will often get the same response, or close to the same. And I think that's true. And even what you said about when you can sometimes attract, you attract the same people, same kind of behaviors, because really it's the environment you put yourself in. It's the conversations you're having. It's how you're approaching certain things. So
it's to accept.
And it's what you accept. And
then too, you may think that's all you can get. So that means you might have low self-esteem about yourself. That you know that I'm handsome. You know, I'm good looking. You know, and you have to pump yourself up.
But I want to go to this question. I got two more questions, and we're gonna probably in this. This person says she wanted advice from mother about single women. What should they do to prepare? What should single women be doing to prepare for marriage?
Wow. I'm trying to think back of it's a lot. You know, you have, like I said, you have to think about yourself, how you want them to see you as a person. And there are certain things that don't care what other people do that you're going to say about yourself. I don't have to do that. And that was one thing, single by me being single. And that was one thing. Certain, you know, places that they went, I made up my mind that I wasn't going to do it. And it can be lonely at times, and you'll be wondering sometime, well, especially when you start seeing people around you getting married and you know, finding a boyfriend and stuff like that. But and it could be that I was very protective. In some women are very protected, so you have that. And then too, when you're saying I saw a lot. I saw
Mhm.
family members get pregnant out of wedlock.
Yeah.
I saw some of them fussing and fighting, you know, with boyfriends and girlfriends and, you know, stuff. And so I made up in my mind that that wasn't going to be me.
Yeah.
And so you, I guess you start out with what kind of standard you want for yourself.
I was gonna say what you mentioned about even being lonely. Sometimes you need those lonely moments where you can't do nothing but depend on God and evaluate yourself.
Yeah. And that happens.
So often is you get pulled from this one, that one.
Yeah.
You need to be by yourself.
Yeah.
You know, educating yourself on what kind of marriage do you want.
Yeah.
You know, read the books,
That's it.
listen to the tapes, the CDs, the messages,
That's
to
it.
platforms like this to build yourself up. So when it comes time for you to be married,
Right.
or be in a long-lasting relationship, you've prepared yourself.
That's it. Yeah.
Most people don't take the time to
To
prepare
prepare
themselves. They jump from one
right.
relationship to the next, to the next, to the next, and so I think that's good. What
It
you
is
said,
good.
even about being lonely. I don't.
Yeah, it's a lonely walk, and then you have to know how to keep yourself.
Yeah.
You know, keep yourself. It means that you have to build a relationship with God.
Yes.
Also, how do you prepare for marriages? Like Pastor says, you have to actually get some goals.
Yeah.
What are you looking for in this mate? Write it down. Write everything down. Everything that you're looking for. God says, God know who it is.
And don't accept nothing less.
And don't accept. That's right. Don't compromise. The
Right,
key is don't compromise. That's it. Don't accept anything less.
Right. And one other thing that I would like to say, don't ever look for a man to make you happy. Don't ever try to get a man who you think is going to make you happy with having prosperity and stuff like that, because you're looking for the wrong thing. And you have to look at yourself of what you can do by yourself without a person. So when you get married, you can add to that.
That's it.
To whatever they have and whatever you have.
That's right.
But as far as you are looking for a man because they are doing well or people know them and stuff like that, you know, sometimes the grass is not as green as it looks.
That's true.
And I just want to end with this question because it is really off of that comment you just said. The grass is not always good, but it says, what would you suggest for couples who start out equally yoked, but then grow in different directions over time?
Wow.
They start out equally though and grow in different directions. That means over time. Okay, that's because of the fact that person do not have. And we talk about Christians, right? And that means that they do not have a relationship with God. Number one, they don't have a prayer life. Do you pray together? Okay. Then if they're not, then they're going to be with the reason why they grow apart is because of the fact that they have different relationships with different people.
Other people.
And then when you have a different relationship with different people, you're going to lean toward that side. And when you find out you have actually separated yourself from God.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you're actually living the world's way instead of God's way.
Yeah.
So the only way that you can draw that person back is through prayer, because the only person can do that is God.
Yeah.
Because once they still have freedom of choice. God always gives us freedom of choice. And if we have a choice to choose to go that route, whether it's women or men, then you're going to go that route. I know some women who marriage was solid. Don't always have to be men. Marriage was very solid, but then they had happy hour. So, you know, the husband's working and you in happy hour. So then you begin to drift.
Yeah.
Okay. To the negative side of life. So that's how that happens. I have to be careful with that.
And God has his way of letting you know what you have done.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Holy Spirit will really prick you. He will bother you the whole time you doing what you're not supposed to be doing. He's actually talking to you the whole time, and it's up to you to listen.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
That's it.
We passed our hour, but love all y'all. And this is another session of Stronger and Better. And I just want to thank my beautiful moms. They got me in between. They got me serious, so I got to behave today. But thank you, Heather, for joining us also. And we're here every Thursday for another session of Stronger and Better from at 11 o'clock. So you'll see at the bottom of the screen also a YouTube channel. Trying to grow our YouTube page. You can go back and look at all the previous shows that we have had also on that YouTube channel. So please make sure that you subscribe. Trying to get to 100 subscribers quick. So please do that, and then we can grow from there. Remember to share this, to let people know about what we're trying to do to create a stronger and better environment. We love y'all, appreciate y'all, and thank y'all for joining us for another session of Strong
and I love all of you all.
Yes. Love you.
Love you.